all around. I'm in like a massive basin, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of meters above me all the way around are the mountains. We're going to come around the corner in a minute. I can't quite yet see where the path goes to the top of Scarfell Pike. Oh, now I can. Holy crap. That's the path to the top. Scarfell Pike. Up that way. Oh boy. Hello and welcome to the Cup of Triathlon podcast. We're brought to you every week by our sponsors, oxygenaddict.com.
Triathlon coaching with Coach Rob.
We are bikehouse.co.uk.
For all your cycling needs.
And triathlonbox.co.uk.
To keep everything organised in transition.
And what a wonderful, it's Wednesday evening, isn't it, as we're recording this now. We're a little bit later than usual, so apologies if we didn't pop up in your feed as usual this morning. We should be popping up in your feed tomorrow morning if I can get this edited later on. I needed some extra rest, didn't I, Helen, this week?
Oh, Rob, you're alive.
I'm alive, and I made it. I did not die in the hills, which looked like a distinct possibility for a couple of hours up there.
Oh.
But I made it back, and I'll tell you, here's the biggest mystery of the whole weekend. My Achilles tendon feels better after doing that, after 18 hours on my feet, than it has done for the last 5 years.
Oh my!
I've had literally not a single pain out of it since the morning after the race. Isn't that mental?
So what you're trying to say is just basically nearly kill yourself.
I'm a medical marvel, Helen. Yeah. That's all I can say. I'm a medical marvel.
Nearly kill yourself in another way, and then exactly any slight Achilles pain just disappears.
Hey, well, do you know what? I read this thing about a guy who invented the rehab for Achilles tendonitis. Was a guy who was in the army, and he tried to get himself medically discharged from the army by thinking, right, my Achilles tendon's knackered, I'm going to try and snap it. And he put a massive backpack full of encyclopedias on and did loads of one-legged calf raves thinking it would snap his Achilles tendon. And it got better. Oh. And he reported this to the doctor, and that's now how they rehab this stuff. So they reckon that working it really hard makes it better, but I'm not sure they had like an 8.5-hour mountain marathon in mind when they put that forward.
Oh, Rob, honestly, I am so impressed with your... Well, with
idiocy,
with the idiocy, with the lunacy, with the gritty determination to get to the finish line, with the fact that you did actually sign up in the first place, because that was just annoying at one point.
Yeah, it was doing your head in that I wasn't signing up.
Yeah, it was doing my head in because you kept on talking about it and you didn't do anything about it. So the fact that then you did actually sign up, you put your money where your mouth was, and you know, I think you said last week the training in the run up to it hadn't exactly been ideal. So panic training, Rob will be a go-go. So I'm super impressed because I've seen a couple of pictures of you on your bike, and the degree of incline is just...
The degree of uphillness is quite insane, isn't it?
It's almost like physically, how would they have even built a bloody road like that in the first place, you know?
It is a mystery, actually. It's what made people look at those hills and go, well, we'll put a road over this bit.
Let's give it a go.
It's madness. It really, really is. Yeah, and my favourite part of the whole day was the steepest part of the course on the really steep bit of Hard Knot Pass, where it gets to 1 in 3 for like 3 switchbacks, or like 2 bends and 3 bits. Having not seen another soul for about an hour and a half, there were literally 6 cars nose to tail on that section. So whereas usually you could kind of, you know, like weave across the road left to right to
you couldn't
kind
even
of even
do that.
The gradient out. I had about, I don't know, I'm conservatively guessing about 4 inches wider tarmac than the width of my handlebars to get by these guys who were all parked up in massive Mercedes, like a 6-car convoy of this massive family. And I was just like screaming at the top of my lungs going, I will not get off this bike. They were all killing themselves in the car.
Oh, so did you manage to get up the 30% on your bike?
I did, yeah. I managed to get up the whole thing. Didn't put my feet down. Do you know, the hardest bit was getting down the hills, to be honest. On some of them it was was like mountain biking down the back of some of those passes.
Wow.
It was the back of Rhinos and the back of Hard Knot. There's some sections on it where you had to hang your bum off the back of the saddle like you would do on a mountain bike going down the steepness. I've never ridden down them before, and I was chortling to myself as my forearms cramped up.
Did you was it as you expected?
Yeah, I think it was. It was 150 lunatics. It was pretty intimidating, I've got to say, in transition, because there was a lot of clearly Norseman type people there, you know, and I'm used to going to races and not being the beginner, but I felt very much like I am the least qualified person to be here. You know, I saw 3 guys walking together in black Norseman finisher t-shirts, and I was like, oh my god, what am I doing?
Did they all have like beards as well?
Lots of people had beards. There was an equal mix. There was a lot of over 40, so a lot of beards going on. There was a larger than usual proportion of extreme haircuts, I would say, like Mohicans and things like that, and Scandinavian chaps who look like they come from the special forces. There's a lot of that going on. But yeah, it was pretty awesome in general, I've got to say.
And what was it like getting into that water at, 4:15 in the morning?
Do you know, it was so cold in the air temperature that the water actually felt warm.
Oh.
It wasn't. I was expecting it to be really cold, and it wasn't. It was actually quite pleasant, to be honest. I'm not going to make this out to be like life and death threatening kind of thing. I think the water was actually pretty warm certainly for what it could have been. But the payback was it was really misty. So you couldn't see the opposite side of Windermere. You couldn't see the buoy, and everyone was going, well, clearly they're going to cut the swim short because we can't see where we're going. There was an island on the far side we were meant to swim to with a red flag on, and there was a buoy kind of halfway out that we had to swim around and then dogleg back to it.
Yeah.
And you couldn't even see the buoy, and you were like, oh, okay. So you just kind of swam, and everyone was like stopping and going, you any idea where we are? No. I can. You could literally see the trees above the water on the far side, but nothing else. Just there was like 10 feet of mist over the water. So we swam out around that and eventually got to the island and made our way back. And everyone was so lost, you were swimming into swimmers coming the opposite direction.
Oh no!
Who'd got lost and had obviously gone zooming over to the left, and you didn't know whether it was you that had gone wrong because you'd swum into them, or them that had gone wrong. So yeah, it was pretty entertaining.
And did you have to have were there any torches? Like I've seen Swiss Man, and I think they all have like neon lights. Was there any of that going on?
No, they had these big red flags, and I think they thought because it was going to be light, and it was pretty light at 4:30 in the morning. Actually, it's like an hour after dawn. But because it was mist there, it wasn't a lot of help to anyone because you couldn't see the flags until you got to within about, like on the way out, a couple of 100 yards away from it. You're like, oh, okay, it's over that way. And then occasionally you'd look up and the mist would clear and you could go, right, okay, like there's this big youth hostel on the other side of the water, and you could kind of aim for that. But honestly, I would say on a compass bearing of swimmers, people were swimming comfortably within like a 90-degree angle in each direction.
God.
Or 45 degrees either side of where they actually should have been swimming for. And then the mist would clear and you go, oh bollocks, I'm swimming in the wrong direction.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow. And then how did you fuel it all, Rob?
Lots of food is the only way to describe
Solids?
it. Solids and gels, yeah, mix of both. I went with about 2 or 3 gels an hour plus some solids when I fancied it.
Yep.
So it was a mix of the two really. And then because it was basically self-supporting, you had a special needs bag drop at the halfway point that they'd taken out for you, and you could pick up another. I had 3 or 4 bars and stuff out there that I had, and they had bananas at the couple of aid stations as well. So I reckon I had a couple of bananas and maybe 6 or 7 bars, so 600 to 700 calories of solids as well. Yep. And then probably the rest of it was I'd mixed it all up with the water, so it just tasted like, like liquid basically.
Oh, wow. And the run?
Well, I got back from the bike and it absolutely tipped it down. It was, you'll hear this later on in the sound thing I've recorded on the way around. It was properly monsoonal for about 5 minutes, and I just managed to scoot into the first aid tent to get changed. So I was soaking wet through, and I set off on the run. I knew immediately I was absolutely goosed. I hadn't felt great on the bike, and kind of came round a bit towards the end of the bike and felt all right for the last couple of hours. But then on the run, I was going, right, okay, it's not going to be 9-1, it's going to be 1-1.
Oh no!
And I was just trying to jog for a minute and walk for a minute, and for the whole of the first 45 minutes, all I thought about was how stupid I was being to keep going when I clearly wasn't going to be able to make it. And I couldn't jog, I couldn't run, I was absolutely knackered. And I thought, right, well, I'm just going to get to the first aid station at about 4 miles and have a bite to eat there and get myself together and have a sit down, and then you've got time to walk this whole thing and get to the finish line before the cut off. And I got to the aid station and they didn't have any food, they just had water.
Oh, not what you want.
Broke my heart, and I nearly went into the pub and bought some chips at that point.
Chips are always the answer.
I was like, what will this pub have I could go and buy? And the guy said to me, and God bless him, because he obviously realised I was in the state, he's like, look, there's another aid station literally just round the corner. They've got loads of food. Get yourself around there. You'll be sorted, mate. And so I said, right, okay. And I knew the next aid station was 4 miles away. Because I had the map, and I was looking at the map as he said it, and he tricked me into thinking there was another pub just round the corner that had the food. So I went around the corner, and of course there's just a straight road leading down to the Dungeon Gill, and I could see it about 3 miles down the road. And I was like, right, okay, well, look, you can at least get yourself there, and then you can call it a day there when you get there. Yeah. I got there, and they had like loads of stuff. They had crisps and peanuts and bread, and by the time I'd had a bit of that to eat, I felt a bit more chirpy, and I thought, right, come on, you promised you were going to do this and you're not going to quit, so let's stop whining. You can walk the whole thing from here and get in before midnight, so buckle up for a long day.
Oh, man.
And as you do, like after that, my legs came round a bit and I could run a bit on the flats, and most of us were walking up the hill. Yep. And I kind of walked and jogged it and did what you had to do to get home, really.
It's amazing. Were there many of you around, or did it feel very, very, very lonely?
Oh, it was very, very lonely. Yeah.
And did that add? Did you think that made it harder?
Yeah, without question. I reckon on the bike, after the top of Rhino's Pass, after about 3.5-4 hours, I literally didn't see another person for 2 hours on the bike. I didn't see anybody at all. Nobody passed me. I didn't catch anybody. And then when I caught somebody up, or she caught me actually, a lovely lady called Jan from Chester Tri Club, and I was like, I can see you're much stronger than me, but will you just ride with me for a little while and chat to me for 2 minutes, because I'm so lonely? And she killed herself laughing and stayed with me.
Oh.
And then on the run, a few people passed me in the first mile, which is always good for your
ego.
Like your ego when you're already getting hammered. And I clearly couldn't stay with anybody to chat with them. And yeah, I just don't really remember seeing very many people at all. Even right on the top, like when I got to the top of the first bit of the climb on Scafell Pike, this massive storm rolled in. So it went from being 20 degrees to being, it felt freezing cold. Full Gore-Tex on, absolute hammering monsoon, 20 meters of visibility. And it was like that for me, the whole bit up on the top on the rocks where you were trying to find your way through the difficult bit where there was no path. And you had to get from cairn to cairn and you couldn't see the next cairn. And at that point, you'd see the occasional person and go, have you any idea where we're going? And they were like, yeah, I think it's this way. And you kind of go over for a bit and go, nah, that wasn't it. Let's go back where we came from and go over that way a bit. And then the mist had cleared and you'd see it was like right in front of you where you were looking for. And, when the mist cleared, it was dead obvious. So the organisers had done a brilliant job, but there's only so much you can do, isn't there, when you're trying to get people across terrain like that.
Yeah.
And then, it got to the top, turned around, came back down a bit, and a couple of 100 metres vertically under the summit. We came out of the clouds, and it was sunny and nice again.
I love the Lake District for that.
I've got the photo of me wearing like full Gore-Tex, but in bright sunshine, and my mum's like, why are you wearing your full waterproofs in that lovely weather?
I saw that photo, and I thought, God, he really was.
What's he doing?
Yeah. You don't look like a triathlete at the top there. You look like you're out in the mountains on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, well, that's the one really good thing that I'm glad the organisers were really keen about. When you went to check in and get your number, you didn't get your number until you showed them your backpack that had full set of waterproofs in, hat, gloves. What else did you have to have? Foil blanket, compass, whistle, and they checked everything. And if you didn't have one item, they sent you away and said, "Well, you can come back when you've shown it us." And at the time, you were a bit like, you know what, it's 20 degrees outside, man, this is a bit overkill. But on the top, for sure, it was like you were glad you had a hat and gloves with you and full Gore-Tex. So super exciting day out. It was brilliant.
So Rob, how does it compare to, say, some of the other triathlons you've done since taking up triathlon?
I got a sense of accomplishment from doing it that I haven't got in a lot of years. I think I'm prouder of myself for grinding out the marathon, especially because it was like a long out and back, and the whole way out you were going, you're not going to be able to make this. Pull yourself together. I'm not going to be able to make this. Pull yourself together. It was a real test of mental strength, whereas I think a looped course is mentally a lot easier, that you're never more than, when you're never more than 3 miles from a place where you can go back to your hotel.
Yeah.
It gives you a kind of safety blanket. So I definitely think I consider it to be the best triathlon type thing I think that I've ever done. It's definitely up there with the first time I ever did a long triathlon, and it was like a whole new world, It was super, super awesome.
Was there one point that you thought, I actually just want to cry right now?
Oh yeah, man. When you listen to the audio, I'm almost in tears at several points.
Oh God! Did you sort of feel like you almost had an imaginary friend in the recorder?
Well, yeah. I mean, the one regret I've got is I didn't get the recorder out when I was right on the top of Scarfell and got to the turnaround, because at that point, I genuinely was concerned that I was going to get myself down off the mountain. It was as serious as weather as I'd been in on a mountain, and I thought it would be really vain to get the recorder out now and do a little 30-second piece and then get found by mountain rescue in 2 days.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good. No.
And so from the bit where I get to the first plateau in the mountain to when I get back to there's no recordings. And I was like, I wish now I'd taken a photo to show people what it looked like. And I wish that I had a bit more audio from that section of it. But you can hear in my voice at the section at the start of the run, I'm just like in a bad place.
God. Wow. Well, Rob, seriously, super impressive and very inspirational to everyone listening. So congratulations. And Rob, did you see how much love there was for you?
Oh, I was so touched by that when I got back. I didn't see any of the tweets or anything until I actually got home, because I didn't have any kind of reception or 3G or anything up there, because I'd planned to send you some photos and stuff to the feed, but I couldn't do that. And so yeah, thanks everybody for the messages. It really G'd me up. And even Hells, I met a couple of people who were podcast listeners during the event.
Neil
One
Crump,
of them
who
was
came
racing.
second. So sixth,
yeah.
Even. Sorry.
Didn't properly meet him, but he went zooming by. I think he led the swim out. Actually, he had a brilliant swim.
Yeah, first out swim.
And there was a lady whose name I've forgotten, Sarah, who was on her Hendu.
Doing it on her Hendu?
She wasn't doing the event. She'd climbed Scoffell Pike with a couple of her mates on the Hendu, and she saw my Oxygen Addict t-shirt, and she's like, "You're Rob from the Cup of Tri." And so I've got an interview with her. That's part of the...
Brilliant.
Got like 30 seconds. Said, "Right, you sit down, talk into this." So yeah, big respect for her for having full hiking kit and a garter belt on. I thought that was a nice touch for the Hendu.
Sounds like my friends, the kind of thing they I do believe I was up some sort of hill in North Wales on my Hendu, so that's brilliant. Well, we look forward to hearing all of the recordings, but yeah, there was a lot of support for you, Rob, from the Cup of Tri listeners, so thank you.
I could feel it, Hells. I could feel it lifting me along. There were times when I think people's good wishes were all that carried me up that hill.
Yeah, we made sure that you got the fist pump of joy retweeted.
Brilliant.
So yeah, congratulations. So Rob, are we going to hear about
I did a fist pump of joy on the finish line.
Oh, I love it.
That's what I forgot to tell you. I did one. I've got a photo of me doing the Helen's fist pump of joy on the finish line.
Is that the one that you sent through?
Me at the finish line.
On the Twitter
That's
feed.
what. Yeah.
Yes, that is a fist
That's
pump
what
of
I'm
joy.
doing. That's the fist pump of joy.
Oh, I hadn't noticed that. Right, everybody, if you go back on the @CupOfTri Twitter feed, scroll down a little bit, and there are a couple of photos of Rob on that finish line in his Oxygen Addict t-shirt with the biggest smile you've ever seen on a 40-something-year-old. Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
It was a cheesy grin moment.
Yeah, it was a very cheesy grin. So, and by that point, you'd obviously taken off all of your mountainous equipment.
Yeah. Like I said, it all came off just after that photo of me wearing it, and it was shorts and a t-shirt all the way home. It was baking again.
Doing what the elites do, which is, show off their branding at the finish line. Rob, are we going to hear about it now or in a little bit? Are we going to go through race results first?
Shall we do it? Shall we juggle up the Cup of Tri running order a little bit? Shall we run the audio now?
Fine. So still to come on the Cup of Triathlon podcast, once we've heard about Rob's amazing Triathlon X experience, we will be talking through some of the results from the weekends. We had Ironman Austria, we had Challenge Galway, we had 70.3 UK. So a couple of race results to bring you. We've got the Coach's Couch, which is about swimming, isn't it, Rob?
It is,
so we'll cover them. But yeah, first of all, let us hear about Rob's experience of Triathlon X.
Right, so I've made it up here to the Lake District. I'm in Ambleside and parked up and wandering down by the lake here. It's about 2:30 on Friday, and managed to find myself a sneaky little car park to put the camper van in overnight. Transition's getting set up down here in front of me, and you can probably hear a good bit of wind blowing on the lake. Probably got 15 knots of wind blowing here, and a nice little bit of chop on the water, which is adding to the nervousness nicely. So yeah, we'll go for a bit of a wander around down here. Loads of fences here, ready to step the racking overnight. Guy fishing, a couple of people out in a rowing boat, and right there up in the distance under dark clouds I can see the summit of Scafell Pike. It looks a long way away. So fully racked now, back into the camper van, and got plenty of stickers and different bags and bits and bobs to get sorted. It's bringing it all back to me. It's been a few years since I've raced now, so I guess one of the unique things about this race is, with it being so far apart, there's only 3 feed stations on the bike, and one of them they give you the option to put your own stuff in a bag that they'll transfer out there for you, so put your own water bottles and things like that in. So I'm going to sit here for a while now, get the stickers on the bike and get the stickers on the helmet and all that good stuff. It takes ages, this, getting ready for a triathlon, doesn't it? Good grief. Right, better get sorted then. Right, so 3:15 in the morning. It's about an hour. Oh God, it's early. About an hour till the race briefing. It's pretty cold actually. Lying here in the camper van. I've got the luxury of being maybe 50 metres away from where transition is, so there's no great need to rush over there. God, it's cold. So a bit of breakfast and get dressed and go down and set up transition, I think. So time is now 5 to 4. About to head on down to transition to put my boxes in and stuff. I finally finished having a bit of breakfast and tidying things up, and I'm looking over the most amazing scene. We've got Windermere here is just shrouded in early morning mist. Absolutely stunning. I can see the high fells in the background over the lake with Scafell Pike that we're going to be running to later. Dawn's just breaking. We've got a 3/4 moon up in the sky, hardly any clouds. And the forecast is actually pretty good all the way through the bike. And then with it turning out to be just possibly rainy and thunderstormy later, so we're going to have to wait and see how that goes. I'm going to head on down to transition. Right, so this is Lee. Where are you from, Lee?
I'm from Bangor, North Wales.
Okay, and what inspired you to this lunacy this morning?
The challenge, I think, the challenge of it. It's billed as the toughest in the world, isn't it? But no doubt with the bike course, it definitely is the toughest in the world, and especially finishing up and down Scarfell Pike, it's going to be horrendous.
I'm sitting there now, and we're in transition as to do this interview, and I'm looking up at Scarfell Pike now, and it looks a long way away, doesn't it?
I don't know, I try not to look at it, to be honest with you, but yeah, it does look a long way away.
How many of these have you done before, Lee?
I think it's about my sixth or seventh iron distance event now, so this is by far going to be the hardest, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. Well, listen, man, I'll leave you to get set up and then get ready for the swim. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, thank you so much. Cheers.
It might become one of those tapes that they pour over in years to come, you know, like the last tape of Rob Wilby.
What happened to him?
I'm just stumbling around confused.
We found these last words like the Blair Witch Project. There's no denying, Mike, is there? There's a lot of mist on that lake this morning.
Sorry, am I on air?
You on air? You are on air?
Yeah, it's very misty, it's very moody.
Terrifying.
But that does mean the water should be warm.
This is Mike Stockton from Knutsford Tri Club. How are you feeling, mate?
I want to get on with it, as per usual, a bit panicky.
We've got about a minute to the race briefing now. Everyone's milling around in the wetsuits, and I've got to say, it's a really nice atmosphere. Everyone's super friendly, aren't they?
Oh yeah. Stop anyone and have a chat with you. Mostly about the cassette on the rear.
I've been getting some abuse. The boys don't think I've got enough gears, and I think I agree with them. But that's life, eh? So we're going to go down and have the race briefing now. I'm absolutely gripped. I don't mind telling you, it doesn't matter how many times you do these things. The last 15 minutes before the swim start is absolutely terrifying. And that's not a mist anymore, is it, man? That's fog. How the hell are we going to swim to that island? We can barely see it.
They're going to light it up, aren't they?
Are they? They're going to put a light on it?
I think so, yeah.
That's a good idea. All right, so this is Rob for the Cup of Tri. 4:15 in the morning. About to go and jump to my possible death. I will hopefully speak to you guys in about an hour and a half. Say bye, Mike.
Goodbye.
So, out of the water. About 70 minutes on the clock. It's very relaxed here in transition today. Everyone's having a chat and being friendly. Nice contrast. Getting the arm warmers on and the gilet, and hopefully we head on out on the bike course. I'll speak to you again soon. Alright, so we're halfway up the struggle, which is the first climb on the course, and as you can probably tell, I'm trying pretty hard to hold myself back here, but it's tough. I've been passed by about 10 guys on this first climb, all going like trains. I keep telling myself, come on, slow down, back off. I can hear from my breathing I'm going too hard. We've got a relatively flat spot here, and it's gonna kick up again in a minute. We'll have a little bit more respite. And we're going to have the really tough stuff, a little 25% kicker on the way up to the top of Kirkstone Pass. Alright, need two hands. Alright, so this is it. This is the first really steep bit of the day. Just coming up to the start of the struggle, I'm looking up and I can see a series of switchbacks up in front of me. I count about 30 riders, so who knows, maybe that's the leaders up at the top there. Let's see if we can gradually make our way to the top up here. How you doing, man?
challenge of this.
It'll be a long day.
Yes, it will be a long day. What's your name?
Stefan.
And where are you from, Stefan?
Germany.
Oh, nice to meet you. I'm Rob.
Rob?
Rob.
Rob, okay, Rob.
Yeah.
And you're from this area?
Yeah, close by.
Okay.
Only about an hour's drive away.
Oh, beautiful. I love it, yeah. Enjoy your day.
You too, man. I'm sure I'll see you soon. I've got to say, it's an absolutely stunning day here in the Lake District. It really is. The sun just rising here, and at the moment it's behind what must be Helvellyn, so we're in shadows. But all the peaks around us are lit up by the early morning sun. There's nobody out. Seen 2 cars. I guess it's not even quite 6 o'clock in the morning yet. There's plenty of psychopathic sheep at the side of the road waiting to jump out in front of us. There we go. And the boys were definitely right about my choice of cassette. This 29 or 28 I've got on, it's just about enough at the moment. I think I'm going to be found wanting later on when it comes to hard nut, but we'll see. Just trying to be sensible up this one. All right, that's enough talking for now. All right, so we're pretty much at the base of the next really big climb. I just had a really beautiful ride down from Keswick along the shores of Derwentwater. Really nice, totally stunning scenery, and we're now just coming up to the start of the climb of Honister. There's a little village here at the bottom of it, and the road turns right, and this valley is like a scene from, I don't know, Lord of the Flies or Lord of the Rings even. Massive great big mountains on both sides, and Honister stands like a dam up in front of us. How you doing? Someone from Cambridge Tri Club there zooming past. Very exciting orange little leg warmers on there. Good work, fella. Right, let's see how we go here then. Last time I tried to climb this, I didn't have the gears on the back. It got ugly, so we'll see how we go. There's a feed station at the top here, so I'll turn this off now. You are live on the podcast. I've got the headphones in here.
Oh yes. Hello.
So we've got the legend that is TC, 100 and odd time Ironman finisher. How you feeling, buddy? You have to shout, otherwise I won't hear you.
Well, I only found my bike mojo 3 days ago, so just pleased to get up. Not bad.
You're climbing very well, mate, I've got to say.
I do have a gift. I'm not being big-headed, I'm just looking.
All right, mate, I won't hold you up. Have a good day, fella. I'll see you in the mountains.
Cheers, mate. Keep over the run walk. No charge.
Those denim shorts, man.
I know. They're both the best and the worst short you've ever seen. All at the same time.
Right, so we're on Winletter. Top of this is the feed station number 2 with our special needs bags in. And I need it, man. I am gubbed. Just climbed Honister and Newlands. Newlands was in bright sunshine, it was really warm. And then we got to the top of that and I was thinking, man, I'm starting to feel a little bit tired here. And there was a sign with 70 miles to go there. Talk about mind games. So I'm just trying to put one pedal in front of the other at the moment and chip this off. Let's get to this aid station. Got a nice warm can of Coke waiting there for me. Might even have a little sit down actually. And this will be not quite halfway with all the tough climbs to come still. It's funny how your mind plays tricks on you, isn't it? Right, enough talking. I've got to go and find some positive mental attitude. See you in a minute. Alright, so we're climbing something called Cold Fell right now. We've been over Winletter and we've just had an hour's worth of riding. It's just been brutal. How you doing? I've been through an extremely dark patch for the last hour, feeling terrible. I think everyone who's done an Ironman knows how it feels. I've eaten plenty, I've hydrated well. Unfortunately, I think it just comes down to the fact that I am not fit enough to do this today. This will be interesting listening back to later. I've had an hour of mental talking to myself, having a word with myself, trying to drive myself up this hill. The roads have just been constantly up and down. No big fells, but just constantly, you know, like 1 in 5, 1 in 8 little rollers. So Cold Fell is supposedly the last of the big climbs before we get to Hard Knot and Rhinos. And I'm feeling a little bit better now. But I don't feel much like dancing. And what a difference an hour makes. I've been nursed along by a lovely lady called Jan from Chester Tri Club. Just had banana at the last feed station. I'm rolling down to Eskdale, heading towards Hard Knot and Rhinos. A couple of hours to go, I reckon, still. A bit under 30 miles to go. But it was funny, a couple of hours ago I was goosed. I sold you my bike for 10 quid and a bag of crisps. I feel alright again now. I'm starting to think I might actually make this. Now, there's absolutely no chance of me being able to talk as I climb this bad boy. Yes! Made it! I can't believe having not seen more than about 4 cars all day, there were 6 cars queued up on the really steep bit at the top of Hard Knot. I was screaming at myself, I will not get my foot on the floor! I tell you what, that descent's even harder than going uphill. But I've made it. So I'm on this massive valley floor now. Big mountains on both sides. Roll along here. One more to go. And then we're nearly home. I'm starting to think I might actually do this. Right, well, I've made it back into transition. And if you can hear this sound in the background, but heavens have opened in the last 10 minutes and it is absolutely belting down. I'm completely soaked to the skin. It's freezing cold. The temperature's dropped to about 15 degrees in the last 10 minutes. Man. Right, time to get changed. Afternoon. So we are 20 minutes into the run. The thunderstorm that came over before has stopped, and now it's sun's come out again and it's hot and humid. It's brilliant. It's 4 seasons in one day. I'm trying to walk a bit and jog a bit, see if my legs come round. I've got to say, that bike ride is the toughest thing I've ever done. I think it's taken me about 8 hours and 5 minutes to finish that bike ride. So by the time I got myself out on the run, I've been moving for 9.5 hours already. I'm looking at the business end here of what's going to probably be 6 to 8 hours, I think, on my feet. So it's going to be a long day. So winding the way up through the forest here behind Skeleth Fold Caravan Park. Absolutely beautiful. And that's what I'm trying to take a little bit of strength from. I'm channeling Mark Allen here. See if I can avoid getting run over. Right, we're 40 minutes in now, and I'm feeling very sorry for myself. I'm feeling a little bit wibbly wobbly. Definitely need to eat something that isn't a friggin' gel. I've got to get myself about another 2 miles to get to the first feed station, where hopefully, please God, they'll have something that isn't an energy gel. Oh, I gotta dig deep now. God, this is only like the 3 mile point as well. Alright, Captain's log, star date today, update. I've been running for an hour and 20 minutes now. I'm feeling a little bit more jolly than I was last time I spoke to you. I had a word with myself, gobbled the gel down. It tasted disgusting, but must have had about 20 of them today. But the old blood sugar kicked in, mood came back. I'm actually running alright now, and I was all excited because there's a feed station on the map after about, well, I guess it's about 4 miles or so. So I G'd myself up to get there because I thought there'd be some nice food, but unfortunately all I had was water. So the next feed station's in about another 4.5 miles up the road. I should be there hopefully in about 10 or 15 minutes. I'm absolutely starving. I nearly sat down at that pub and ordered steak and chips. It's a bad thing for a vegetarian. So, good, bit of an update. It is nice and warm still actually. The clouds that looked so threatening earlier seem to have, touched wood for the time being, gone away. I'm getting to the end of the Langdale Valley now. We have something called T2A, which has got a bag drop and you can leave some food there, and that's where we transition after 9 miles and we can head up into the mountains. So I've got to be honest with you, 30 minutes ago I didn't think I was going to be doing anything when I got here, but I'm actually really excited to get up in these mountains now. You know, I've just come around the corner, I'm looking up now and there's big black clouds hanging over the ridge of Scarfell Pike, so could be interesting. Speak to you again soon. Alright team, we are 2 hours and 15 on the clock, so I don't know how long that is since I last updated. We're now fully off road. Hiya, thank you. And a little bit wet underfoot after the torrential downpour a few hours ago, so very rocky and uneven underfoot, really uncomfortable. Probably not helped by me wearing my normal road trainers. This path is kind of gradually dragging upwards along here. all around. I'm in like a massive basin, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of meters above me all the way around are the mountains. We're going to come around the corner in a minute. I can't quite yet see where the path goes to the top of Scarfell Pike. Oh, now I can. Holy crap. That's the path to the top. Scarfell Pike. Up that way. Oh boy. Thanks, boys. So this is like a scene from Kung Fu Panda, where there's like 20,000 steps going up to the monastery. I guess that makes me the panda, dragging its sorry backside up the steps. Man, I wish I was doing a video blog to show you guys this. It goes on forever, and I can just see about halfway up loads of little dots climbing upwards, who I presume are fellow competitors. Man, that's a long way. Oh boy. Alright, here we go then. 2:15 on the clock. I'll update you again soon. Alright, so 2 hours 40 on the clock. About halfway up that path I could see from before. A long way from the top. The sun's come out and it is baking hot. It must be about 5 o'clock in the evening. I reckon it's about 20 degrees. I'm absolutely roasting. I've seen 5 guys come by, one of who asked was the leader, the first one. They said, oh no mate, the leader's now up the road, so I didn't even see him go by. So 2 hours 40, I reckon another hour and a bit to the top. Let's see how we do. Here we go. So I'm halfway up a mountain, and someone says, are you Rob from the Cup of Tri podcast? And I meet Sarah Booth, who is on her hen-do, if you can believe that, 3/4 of the way up Scarfell Pike. You're even more nuts than we are.
I don't know what you mean about that, just having a nice weekend away with friends.
You've been out all day?
Yeah, just climbed up Scarfell Pike and now heading back down again. I'm recovering after the Kilda Iron Distance Triathlon last weekend.
Oh, very good. How did you get on there?
I didn't finish last, so I was very pleased. I was second lady, 15 hours 10 minutes, so I was 52 minutes quicker than my PB.
Very good. Right, we'll have to read the results out on the podcast this week then. I feel terrible for not reading it out. I think I'm on my way to finishing last year. I keep looking down the valley and I can't see anybody behind me.
2 guys coming up now, you're all right.
They're going to go by me. Right, it's lovely to meet you. Thank you very much.
And you?
Right, it's now 10 to 9 in the evening and I'm about 8 miles away from the finish still. I've not done an update in ages, it's been bonkers. Cheers. So we got up the hill, we got to the top and man, the storm closed in. It was about, I don't know, maybe 20 metres visibility. It was freezing cold, full Gore-Tex, driving rain, blowing with wind. We were trying to find these little damn cairns with bits of tape on the top. I thought I was going to die of hypothermia. We finally found the checkpoint and got to the top. And I didn't do an update when I was up there, firstly because I thought it would kill the recorder, it was so wet. Secondly, I'm worried about meeting the cut-off. I'm absolutely broken by this event. If anything, the coming downhill is harder than the going uphill. My quads are on fire. And I'll tell you what, I really underestimated the effect of running on rocks. It's not just little stones we're running on, it's great big rocks. And right up on top, it was like clambering and bouldering around to get between stuff. But 10 to 9 now, 3 hours to get 7 miles. If I can jog a bit, I'll be okay. Got about I've got another mile to go actually before it's 7 miles. There's a feed station there and get something to eat and magic can of Coke, and hopefully we should be good to go. Hopefully next update is going to be me coming into the finish line. So this is it. It's 11:15 at night, which means that I've been out there for God knows how long. I can't even do the maths right now. It must be close to 17 hours. Whole of Ambleside is totally deserted. The lake is perfect mirror calm. Actually, there's a few supporters along here, which is really quite cool. Got some lights set up outside the YHA. Thank you very much.
Mind the dog food by that box down.
I like that. After 17 hours of racing, it comes down to minding the dog poo. So running past the boats and the ferries. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, guys. And here we go. We're heading into the finishing chute. Thank you very much. Turning into the driveway. About 50 yards to go. Here we go. What an amazing day out. Where do I go? Down and around?
Down there, down and around.
Oh. Around the ramp at the bottom. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Cheers, dude.
Stop.
Oh, is that it? I'm finished.
Hey, well done, Rob.
2 great big red banners with finish written on. I should give it away, shouldn't it?
Yeah, you can stop running.
Oh, I can stop. May as well keep going. Oh, right, I'm going to turn this damn thing off.
Yeah, switch it off.
There we go. You know what? I love the cowbells at the end. I thought that was a particularly nice touch. You'd hear a cowbell and go, somebody's supporting us.
No race is complete without a cowbell.
I wish I knew this guy's name. I've got to give a shout out to there was a marshal there's an up and down bit before you do the serious up bit to get to the very top of Scarfell Pike. And obviously you get to the top of this up bit in the mist and you think you're done. And then you start following the cairns downhill and you're like, what the hell's going on? I'm going in the wrong direction. But you could hear this cowbell ringing through the mist. So you're like, well, I know we've got to go this way. And there was this poor guy sitting there wrapped in a sleeping bag, freezing cold, ringing his bell. And you were like, what are you doing? And he's like, you've got to go up there. I thought it was finished. He's like, yeah, you and everyone else, pal. Sorry, up that bit. And he must have stayed there in the mist and the rain for like 6 hours ringing this cowbell so you knew where you were going.
Good people, aren't they? Good people.
Yeah, good people. Extremely jolly and a sense of camaraderie amongst the people who do events like that I've rarely seen in recent days at events. Let's put it that way. It wasn't about racing; it was about
completing,
traveling alongside other people.
Oh, fantastic! So if anyone fancies it for next year, the website is wasdalex.co.uk. And they call it the world's toughest ultra. And from what we've just been hearing and, you know, what you were saying before, Rob, yeah, I think it certainly gets that.
I think so. Big shout out to Mark Blackburn, the organiser. It was a pretty audacious plan that I think must have been launched after more than a few beers to put on that triathlon. And to actually pull it off in as safe and professional manner as they did, I think hats off to them. And I've read that they're just waiting on confirmation from the youth hostel for the date for next year, which is looking like it might be the same weekend or maybe the weekend before, so mid to late June next year. When the entries open, I reckon if you're interested, get in quickly, because this is going to be a race that grows and sells out, and rightly so. It's bloody brilliant.
Oh, I'm chuffed. I'm really, really chuffed for you. I'm also very happy for Andrew Drobeck, who took out the win in, I can't believe it, 12:38. He came all the way from America, didn't he?
He is a Terminator, right? This guy was so far ahead of everybody else that as I was going up Scarfell Pike, I saw the first runner coming towards me, and I said, "Hey man, well done. This is brilliant. You're doing really well." And he said, "You know, I'm over an hour behind somebody, don't you?" I was like, "What?" He said, "Yeah, there's a guy an hour and a half in front of me." And I thought back, and I'd only seen one guy running, that distance ahead. And he looked so fresh. I thought he was just a guy out for a run in the hills. He didn't look like he'd done anything at all. He was just so far ahead of everybody else. And then there was a group of about 6 guys spaced over about 20 minutes at that point. So there must have been some proper racing went on the way back. And I remember thinking, God, imagine having to race people feeling like I do now to try and get a different position.
Well, yeah, but he wasn't fit. He did a 1:02 swim. His bike total was 6:25, which was the fastest of the day, but by what, like 15 minutes? Yeah.
Or something.
But it was his run that he got it on the run, 5:06.
It's unbelievable, yeah.
Wow.
I think the next fastest run was over 6 hours, wasn't it?
No, you had a 5:46 from Darren Jones, who was third. But
okay.
Yeah, wow, and a 5:51 from Stan Grunsel in fourth. So Gareth Huxley came second in 13:58. So as you were saying, an hour and 20 behind the winner. And then, yeah, like you said, people racing. Darren Jones third in 14:02. So what, like 3-4 minutes behind second place. And over that distance and that terrain, that is close, isn't it?
It's full on racing, isn't it?
Yeah. Over on the women's side, Rob, it was won by, am I right in saying Christine Howard?
You are indeed.
Yeah, in 17 hours and 12 minutes. So Christine did a 1:12 swim. She did an 8:23 bike, and then she did a 7.5 hour run, 7:32 run. Second was Jan Rogers, who you mentioned, and then third was Claire Regan. So Jan's time was 17:31, and Claire Regan was 17:58.
You know what, mate? I'm not sure that we've got the ladies' results right there.
Oh, have I got it wrong?
No, I don't think it's your fault. It was me earlier. I've got Daisy Baggs here in 16:50.
Oh, I missed Daisy off. Oh,
The
yeah.
problem is-
No, she didn't
yeah.
come up. Sorry. Daisy Baggs, I'm really sorry.
It's difficult to go down through the results because there's no female things listed separately, are there?
No, so I've got that very wrong. Okay, so scrap that and put Daisy Baggs at the top. So
Daisy Baggs, 16:50 for the win. Sorry, Daisy, after such a phenomenal performance.
I'm really sorry. I hadn't looked.
Christine Howard in second.
Yeah, that's correct.
My bad. I can only blame my sore legs.
No, honestly, on the official website, it doesn't say that it doesn't say female by Daisy, which is why I missed.
No.
Yep.
You got to presume Daisy's a female, right?
Exactly. So yeah, there we go. Fantastic.
Rock and roll.
Yeah, well done to everyone doing that. Rob, elsewhere.
Where should we head next?
Wow.
It's got to be. I think it's got to be Ironman Austria.
Yeah, I'm with you. I am with you. Can I read out a tweet that I saw in relation to Ironman Austria, which was,
Yeah.
holy shit, Marinda Carfrae, course record and a run like I've never seen before. 2:49. Eat that, girls. Woohoo!
Who's that from?
That was Bet Keat.
Good old Bet Keat.
Apologies. for
Holy shit.
Yep. So yeah, that was in relation to Rinny. Wow, absolutely smashing it. I did suggest that last week, Rob, and you're like, yeah, she never performs well outside of Kona. I was like,
I'm going to eat my hat on that one. Yeah, that's. There we go. She's put herself well and truly back on the map, hasn't she, with that performance?
Yeah. Oh,
Just a 2:49 marathon to close with.
And she did it was a 59 swim, 4:47 bike, and then that marathon. Wowee.
Not so.
Yeah.
Not so.
And she was won by 16 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ahead of Michaela Hurlbauer, and then Elizabeth Gruber of Austria as well was in third.
Got to feel sorry for Michaela there. You go in 8:57, which is pretty phenomenal, and you get beaten by 16 minutes. Breaks your heart, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. No, that's an absolutely fantastic performance there from Rinny. And I saw, Rob, it made the Daily Mail.
Really?
Yeah, a photo of her, because you get like the massive thing of beer. It made the Daily Mail. I was going to send that article to you, actually, thinking, my God, it's hilarious.
She made the Daily what?
She made the Daily Mail because she made the Daily Mail because they got a bit excited about the size of the beer, clearly. Not the
she was pouring the beer over herself in the finish line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, and that made the Daily Mail.
Gotcha. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
slow news day. It's not like there's anything else to write about in Great Britain at the moment, is it?
No.
The Mail's attempt at feel good stories, I suppose.
No, it made the Daily Mail Aussie version as well, which would make sense.
It's really good.
Yeah. Over on the men's side, Rob, another really quick time and another win for Marino van Hooneke in 8:04.
It's becoming superhuman, isn't it?
Yes.
8 wins in a row at Austria. I mean, still, I guess it's slightly slow by his standards, but still 8 in a row, and I think he's the other side of 40 now as well.
Is he?
I think so. Maybe it just feels like he is because he's won it 8 times in a row.
Yeah. I quite like the fact that so Viktor Zemtsev of Ukraine, who was second in 8:09, did a 2:39 marathon, and he's 43. Okay. No more said.
No
more said.
I've read some interesting stories on the internet this week.
Well, there we go. Let's. Alessandro De Gasperi of Italy was third in 8:13.
And there we go.
Really
good racing, everybody. Very impressive.
Over to
Ireland.
Fantastic.
Ireland.
Yeah. So this was Challenge Galway. Beautiful part.
It was hot and sunny there as well, wasn't it? Absolutely scorching weather for Challenge Galway. No, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, what's it?
It was freezing cold. The swim got shortened because it was howling wind.
Oh.
The road surface loosened people's fillings, but everyone had a good day out.
David McNamee had a great day out. He won in 3:51.47 ahead of Joe Skipper in 3:55, who finished just a minute ahead of Dylan McNeice of New Zealand in 3:56. So absolutely fantastic performance from David McNamee. Great for Skipper, who is heading to Roth, where he is hoping to break the British record, isn't he, for the fastest Ironman ever?
He is indeed.
So looking good there. And then, great performance from Dylan McNeice as well. Over on the women's side, Emma Billum, she's continuing to fly this season. She won in 4:16. Lucy Gossage was second in 4:22, and Laura Siddle third in 4:27. So that was some really good racing from those top three on the men and the women's side. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, looks like it's a good race. I know a couple of guys who raced over there and said it was a really nice atmosphere over there. So let's hope that one continues to grow and they get a bit of a break with the weather next time they hold it.
It's a bit like having an event in the Lake District, Rob.
Yeah, it could easily have been like that for us, couldn't it? Yeah.
Or Wales, Yeah.
The
sunshine isn't
proper weather.
But if you have a stunning day, like some of the most beautiful parts of the world.
Yeah.
Well, regardless of the weather, most beautiful, but it's just they look a little bit better. Rob, over in I'm going to pop over to Canada next. And then we'll
70.3 Mont Tremblant.
Now, the reason that we're going to pop over to Canada, in Quebec, is because did you see this result for Holly Lawrence?
Yeah, awesome, huh?
Yep. So it was 70.3 Mont Tremblant, and GB's Holly Lawrence, who she raced for Commonwealth Games. She raced the Commonwealth Games for Wales. She's on Team Wales for that. She had been doing longer distance stuff before the Commonwealth Games, but she's really kind of focusing on long distance stuff again now. So past 2 years, she's had some fantastic results. She won Escape to Alcatraz the other week.
From Alcatraz, surely.
Sorry,
you escape from Alcatraz, don't you?
Oh, God. Just give me a slap.
Yeah, so it's good back-to-back, that, isn't it? Winning Alcatraz and then winning this one.
Yeah, so she won in 4:08, and that's what's so impressive. nearly 10 minutes ahead of Heather Wurtele in 4:17 and Lauren Barnett third in 4:22. That is a fantastic performance.
It's a very, very good performance, and you usually look at that 30-minute gap between the male winner and the female winner, and in this case the male winner was Lionel Sanders, who is on fire, and she's 20 minutes behind him.
Yep.
So that kind of underlines, on a day when he's on fire, she's sort of 10 minutes inside the delta would expect, really. So hats off to her. That's very, very good performance.
Yeah, so it'll be perhaps one to watch for the world champs again, because I know she was in Austria, so should be.
Yeah.
So she's coached under Matt Dixon, isn't she? Purple Patch out in the States. So yeah, Lionel Sanders took the win in 3:47 ahead of Trevor Wurtele, so both seconds for Team Wurtele there, and then Chris Lefferman was third.
And it's worth giving a shout out as well. Lionel, I think that's his 5th or 6th consecutive win at 70.3 distance.
He's unstoppable.
A 2:02 on the bike, if you can believe that, followed by I think it was a 1:15 on the run. So he's, lost 2 or 3 minutes in the swim like he usually does, but then just blitzed it on the bike and run again. So I remember we said early season he'll probably take a mid-season break and then come back for the World 70.3 Championships, but he just seems to be continuing to win stuff, doesn't he?
It's incredible.
Now, we've had him on the show, so you want to go back and check through our feed on iTunes or wherever. Check out the interview with him, because he's got a fantastic backstory. Highly recommend an interview.
Definitely. Rob, should we pop back to the UK now?
Yes, indeed.
Because it was Ironman 70.3 UK, the Exmoor one, so down in the southwest, Wimbleball. And wow, blooming heck. Again, it was an age group race only, so that was the same as last year, wasn't it? They've taken the pro field away. Andy Greenleaf of Team Free Speed won in 4:29, which on that course is super swift.
It is. I was trying to do a bit of research earlier and see how that stacked up against like the first years of the race when they had Macca and people like that there in Pete Jacobs' race, and I couldn't find the results. But he's an astonishingly good athlete, isn't he?
Yeah, really, really fantastic. And Clive Kennedy Byrne was second in 4:33, Michael Birchmore third in 4:35, and then Stephanie Knott had a comfortable win on the women's. She did 5:23, Claire Wood second in 5:28, and Melissa King was third in 5:31.
There we are. What an exciting weekend's racing.
I know.
There's loads more we couldn't even fit in. I think Keltman was on this weekend as well. We haven't even managed to mention that, so that's another beautiful mountainous one up in Scotland. And in fact, do you know what? Around the world, I've got a feeling, Helen, that this weekend is like extreme triathlon weekend.
I think you're right.
The Swiss Man Extreme was on.
Yeah, and the swim was cancelled this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Too extreme?
Yeah, too extreme. Yeah, the weather was too bad. So.
Oh, dear.
Yep.
Oh, that breaks your heart a bit. I ripped my wetsuit, Helen.
Oh, no.
As I put it on 2 minutes before the start,
God, no.
went to hutch it up the thighs a little bit.
We've all been there,
as
Rob.
you have done a million times.
Yeah, we've all been there. And you just nick it?
No.
Oh.
No, that would be too easy, wouldn't it? Nicking the wetsuit. I put like a 5 centimetre rip across the thigh. Swore loudly. Just thought, right, whatever, get on with it. Got a piece of duct tape. So I had it's not brand new, but it's 3 swims old, my new suit.
Oh.
And it's now got this massive, hideous, like,
rip
duct tape covered mess across the thigh.
Well, aren't you retiring now, Rob, from triathlon?
What? No.
I'm joking.
No. This is just beginning. I'm a young whippersnapper. This is the beginning of my domination of the male 43 category.
Right, so if anyone can sort Rob out with a wetsuit, brand new one, like he had three swims ago.
3 swims ago.
Then you know where to...
Don't you worry. I've got some of that neoprene wetsuit glue that served me well in the past. I just hope the suit would make it a little bit longer before I ripped this one.
Black Witch? What is it? That stuff?
There you go. Yeah, the old Black Witch glue.
Oh, it's magic, that. Because we've all nicked our wetsuits. Rob, I do want to just mention, it's Frankfurt this weekend, isn't it? And
yeah.
John McAvoy, who we had on the podcast a few weeks ago, again, another guy with an incredible backstory. check it out. John McAvoy, he's going to be racing Frankfurt, isn't he? And he,
That's right.
yeah, was hoping to place pretty highly.
Yeah, so good luck to John McAvoy. Go back through our archives and check out the interview that we did with him a few weeks ago. Really good listening. Old Howell Towell is racing at Frankfurt as well this weekend. So stepping up and racing in the pro category there. So I'd love to see how he gets on racing at the pointy end of a pro field in a massive European race like that.
Well, we will await.
Good luck, boys.
Yeah. Best of luck to everyone racing.
Best of British,
and it's 70.3 Norway as well this weekend, which, Rob, I think that should go on people's bucket list as well. It looks really nice.
Yeah, I've got a couple of guys racing that actually, so it does look like a good race. Yeah. Good luck to all those people racing there.
But shall we do Coach's Couch?
Yes, okay. Let's do Coach's Couch. We had a question come through on Twitter from Sonia Pippin.
Yep, and Sonia asks, if I swim faster breaststroke than freestyle, yes, it's true, she says, and have a long distance race in, I guess it's now 3 weeks, what are my options?
Crikey. There's an interesting one, isn't there? Because you've got to play off that. Obviously you want to get to the finish line as quickly as you can and get through the swim as quickly as you can against, I think, two things. The first is swimming breaststroke in and amongst lots of freestylers is probably going to be a bit detrimental to the people around you and possibly to you as well. You know, I'm just thinking with the idea of your legs going out so wide. You know what I mean, Hels? Yep. If you're swimming amongst lots of people,
yep.
It might well be that you're faster doing breaststroke in the pool, but when you're in and amongst, it's also dependent on the race itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're at, I don't know, one of the really big mass start races, it might be quite difficult to do breaststroke. And I don't think anyone around you is going to thank you for it.
Unless you were to, what about if you were to start, a lot?
Start at the back, start wide.
And see what happens.
If it's a rolling start, see what happens. I think the other option is you can do a mix of the two strokes, and you can do some front crawl and you can do some breaststroke and mix the two of them up. I've been in races before, in small races, where a guy has swum past me doing breaststroke, and you think to yourself, well, like, thanks a lot, mate, for starters, but you can clearly breaststroke really well. But there was loads of room around us in that one, so yeah, I've never got over that, really.
God.
I'm having flashbacks. He's breaststroking past me. I've been training so hard. I think the other thing we've got to say is we need you to learn to freestyle, really, mate, don't we? We need you to get in the pool and learn to freestyle. It's probably not going to happen in the next 3 weeks, but I'd build it into your plan for going into next season to get some lessons, join a club where you get some decent coaching, and basically a whole world of other swimming opportunities is going to open up to you when you can swim freestyle fast or as fast as you can swim breaststroke. You'll kind of mess those demons up and move forward, I think.
And Rob, in terms of energy, I mean, if you're talking long distance, you're talking 3.8k.
4K,
yeah. I mean, would you be, even if you can swim breaststroke fast, would you be using up more energy?
We're making a lot of assumptions, aren't we? We're making an assumption that Sonia presumably has done lots of breaststroking in the past and that she's done long swims in breaststroke. Because if she hasn't, if it's just that she's faster over 100 meters breaststroke than she is freestyle, and how much faster is she over, doing breaststroke than freestyle? I think the big worry is that repetitive motion of your legs going out wide and then you're having to use your sort of inner thighs to pull your legs back together again to produce propulsion. You're kind of really going to need those muscles for the rest of the day. And I think even if you're marginally slower doing front crawl, if you can just kind of lie there and do front crawl and leave your legs dangling behind you, nice and relaxed in a wetsuit, at least you're saving them then. Whereas you've got to work them pretty hard doing breaststroke, haven't you, for the first hour?
Yeah.
I think I'd sacrifice that bit of speed to do it freestyle and save your legs for later on the bike and the run.
There you go, Sonia. Hope that helps, and really good luck. And Rob, the only other thing I wanted to mention was Howard Fielder got in touch with us, and he says, thanks at Cover of Try for your podcast. It gave me hydration, pacing, fueling, inspiration, tapering, power metering, to help achieve a 10:38 at Ironman Austria.
Good effort, man. Well done.
So
that's good to hear, isn't it?
Yeah. So thanks for the message.
I'll tell you what we'll do here as well. I'll throw in a bit of a shout out for one of our sponsors. Team Oxygen Addict had a race webinar last night. It was entitled Race Day Success. So we covered strategies on how to achieve your best performance on race day over a variety of different triathlon distances. Now the webinar's been and gone, but we've set it up so that if you visit the page, you can click a link and enter your email address, register, and you can download the webinar and watch it at your own leisure, essentially. So if you visit team.oxygenaddict.com/race day, all one word, you'll be able to download that. And at the end of the webinar, we had like a 20-minute Q&A with people asking loads of really good questions about their upcoming races. So if you've got a big race coming up soon, it might be worth your time going and having a listen to that.
Cool beans. Rob, I think that's about it, isn't it, for this week?
We better wrap it up for this week, Hells. It's been a big show, and I can't wait to see Frankfurt kick off next weekend.
Oh, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be fab.
Sebastian Kienle, Daniela Ryf.
Stop it.
Oh, it's going to be good.
We will report back on it next week, won't we?
Can anybody get within 20 minutes of Daniela Ryf? We should have a sweepstake on Facebook, shouldn't we?
Yeah, go on, put it up there. There's another thing on Facebook, isn't there, Rob?
Yeah, we got a competition. We've got an interview next week coming up with Carl Alexander, the winner of the Outlaw. He's secured us a load of goodies from, how do you pronounce this? Is it Erdinger Alcohol Frei?
Yes.
Is that correct? He's got us a whole bunch of beer and a cap and a backpack and all kinds of other bits and bobs as well. So to win that, what you'd like you to do is to like the Cup of Tri Facebook page if you don't already, and we've got a little post up about the competition, and if you can just share that, please. People who've liked the page and shared the post will be entered into our free draw, which we're going to do in 2 weeks' time. So you got to be in it to win it. Loads of beer coming your way. Pretty cool, huh?
Pretty cool. No alcohol in it though, so it's fine.
Alcohol-free beer.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. Athlete's friend. It's basically health food. Water, vitamins.
What more could you want?
Carbohydrates. Yeah, basically a health food.
And on that note, we will wrap it up. Rob, congratulations. Chapeau.
Thank you very much, Helen.
Pleasure. We'll chat more next week.
I'm looking forward to being able to say the same to you after Ironman UK in a few weeks' time.
Oh, God. Yeah. Should we just laugh?
We'll see how we go. We'll see how you go, mate. Fingers crossed for continued recovery.
Thanks.
All right. So listen, you've been listening to the Cup of Triathlon podcast. I'm Coach Rob Wilby.
I'm Helen Murray.
And until next week, have a great training and racing week. Stay safe, and we'll see you again in a week's time when we've got an interview with Carl Alexander. Thanks now.